Hey all, this is Tia from Self-Sustained Living, and I just finished the dandelion infusion oil and thought that while I had my pan with my top in it, I would heat it back up, and you can see that my honey has crystallized in a couple of containers, and this is local honey and it is absolutely delicious. So I'm going to decrystallize and then I'll show you how it works. So I heated the pan up. It's steaming but not boiling, and you can see around the edges that it's starting to decrystallize. It'll take a little while, but this is the easy one. This one's gonna be a little rougher. It's pretty crystallized, but I want to get them both into one so that I can use the other jar for something else. By the way, I thought I would mention that this is local honey. It's not pasteurized, it's not cooked, it's not killed. It has all your local pollens in it. It is a living food, and it is good for thousands of years. This is dead food. It's been pasteurized, strained, cleaned, FDA approved. It's a dead food. It just doesn't have the goodness that this honey does. Doesn't have the health benefits. It's just taste. It's not a food. You have to think about what you're eating. You want to eat food. You don't want to eat fake food. And this is important because people are eating fake food and they are getting sick, cancer, all kinds of diseases. Things are happening to the human race because we do not eat properly that are going to become irreversible. Fake food is fake. Fake cheese, margarine, processed cheese, food is not a food. It's oil. Margarine is not a food. It is one molecule away from plastic. You're not doing yourself any favors. It is cheaper, and I know things are getting tight, but you really need to think about quality over quantity. Eat a lot more vegetables. Vegetables, dark green leafy vegetables especially. But remember, live food, living food. You want things that are picked within 7 days. The stuff we're getting in grocery stores has been dead probably for weeks. It's not living food. And I'm just really a firm believer in living food. Now, I turned my pan onto low again because it wasn't liquefying. But as you can see now, it's starting to liquefy. I have to watch it. I don't want to cook it. I just want to melt it back into liquid form. Now, when I'm done, I'll have to start all over with a new pan of water for this because I can't put the cold jar into the hot pan. I could take this out and set it on a cloth, and I grabbed my canning thing, jar lifters, because this jar is getting quite warm. But if I tip it, you can see the honey starting to liquefy. And it should come off this jar soon. And then maybe I can condense both these jars down. That'll be nice. But I have to do this slowly because I don't want to kill my living food. Okay, so this has been on low for 5, maybe 10 minutes. And you can see it's now getting liquidy. And it's warm, but not hot. This other one's going to take a little longer. I still have a ways to go with this one. You can still see the sugar crystals down in there. It'll be another 15 minutes. But it'll be better than it was. And it'll be usable again. But remember, I'm trying not to get it hot. So I keep checking the temperature on it. And I'm stirring it. And I'm getting ready to pull it and just let it sit in there for 15-20 minutes. Because again, I don't want it to cook. Okay, it's liquid. It's still got some sugar crystals in it. I've turned it off. It's no longer on. It's just whatever temperature the water is. And as you can see, it's back to liquid honey. Now I'm just going to let this sit in the pan until, probably room temperature. And then I will put the top on it loosely. And you can see the sides also are running down. It's not so much stuff on the sides. So hopefully that'll melt up too, with it just sitting in the hot water. Figure half hour. We'll check back then. I just wanted to stick a little note in. I set the top on. I want to keep the heat in the jar so that these bits soften up and ooze back down into the main jar. But I don't want to tighten the lid, not one bit right now, because I'll never get it off. So I'm keeping the heat in. That's coming from the pan so that the crystallized bits on the side will melt back down. But don't tighten the lid until it is completely cool. And I may wash my lid because there's some sticky residue and sometimes these are hard to get open. So what I did was, as it cooled, I decided I was going to dump this one that I had already gotten liquefied into this one. So this one's in here now, and on heat, and we're gonna see if we can get this one to liquefy. It should work a little faster because I put the warm honey in it. Something stuck to the edge there, probably from a child. But hopefully this will liquefy pretty quick, and then I'll have good honey. But now I have an empty jar, which is great. So while this is warming, I cleaned out this jar, took the label off, and I'll reuse it. And I cleaned both caps so that when I put it on, I'll wipe the rim of that one really good so it doesn't stick. And this I think I'll use for the dandelion ointment. Not the salve, the stuff, for the massage oil. Just to store it until I get some nice amber smaller containers to put it in and put some nice labels on it. I think I'm going to give some of his gifts, so I need to have quite a bit of it. So now both my honeys are done. As you can see, it's perfectly usable again. I turned off the heat. I'm going to let it sit until it cools to room temp. Then I'll wipe the rim, put the top on, and I have live honey again. It's barely warm. You can see it when I stir it. I didn't cook it. I just heated it up a little bit. And this jar had so much sugar in it, and now there's hardly any, which is awesome. I love how honey just reconstitutes itself. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope it's useful, I hope this helps you out. So the honey sat all night in the pan, and look at that liquidy goodness. It's liquid now. It just rolls around. It's great. And I condensed them both into one jar. So, also for my oatmeal. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it helped you out. No sense in wasting live food.